we have got to run down some very fun NWSL things. We've got a weekend slate of previews. We've got an interview coming up on this episode with Kayla Sharples, and we're going to keep everyone informed on the latest out of Houston. But let's start with the weekend in front of us. And folks, we've got some pretty big matches coming up. There's just 4 weeks remaining in the regular season. There are still high stakes in front of us. There's a shield that's yet to be clinched. There's some playoff positioning that still needs to get settled out. So why don't we maybe start with some of the heavyweights here? I think we got to start with Orlando Pride and Washington Spirits. Number one versus number two. We've got first place versus second place. Orlando coming into this game having just won. They remain undefeated, a 3-1 win against Houston Dash last week. And Washington is coming off of a 2-1 win at Angel City. Pretty good form for both of these teams. Darian, I'm gonna go to you first in this one. Orlando could win a shield for the first time in their franchise history if they pick up a win against the Spirit. It's not going to be easy though. What do they have to do in order to ensure victory this week?
Remain the course. Stay the course. I think they don't change anything. This is the team that's been so incredibly consistent all year. They haven't tried to alter the way that they show up against different teams. They have just had so much faith in their ability and their playing style and their defensive structure, which I think has been their biggest strength. Also, shout out to my girl Anna Morehouse, just killing it in the back. But for me, Orlando has just been the most formidable opponent because there's not a consistent weak point that you can come at Orlando with. Yes, they've had injuries. Yes, they've had players out at tournaments where you've seen them maybe falter a little bit in their game. But they're a team that anytime someone's injured or they rotate positions or it's a heavy game week and they're rotating their lineup, they have the same energy approaching every single match. And this is a full strength Orlando. I would be terrified to go up against this team. And I think with them being able to win the Shield for the first time for Orlando Pride, there's just more on the line for them to want to get it done. This is a team that you watch them play and they're just having so much fun. And the Spirit, on the other hand, dealing with quite a few injuries. It's hard to fill in for those players that really morph the identity of the Washington Spirit, in my opinion. So I got to give it to my Pride girlies. I think they've got this one in the bag.
Nice. Cupo, do you have a winner, loser, or a draw in this one? And who in particular are you watching? Because we've got some pretty talented individuals on either side of the ball here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I am absolutely guilty of last week underestimating Washington Spirit just because they have had these champagne problems of attackers and that whole slew of injuries. I think I didn't expect as much from them as they had. How dare I think that Jonah Heraldez wouldn't pull this off? The Spirit have a lot of depth and they have firepower that they haven't had to dip into all season. And all of a sudden, they're making this reemergence. With that being said, without Hal Hirschfeld, I think that takes a ding for this week. But Orlando, as far as I'm concerned, are full steam ahead. I think this will be their challenge, and then Gotham. And outside of that, in the next few weeks, they should be clear through. I know I'm getting a little superstitious on their behalf, but I mean, talking to Seb Hines ahead of last week's match, he had noted that, they have Rafaele back, Elsa back, these injured few that are making their way back into the squad just in time for playoffs. And then on top of that, in training, having these full 11v11 trainings where they are their hardest opponent per Seb Hines is, I don't know. It's so exciting. So yes, I absolutely think that Orlando will be able to pull this off, but it'll be one of the tougher matches ahead for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree with either of you. I'm very curious to see how things will work out. Little bit of player in, player out. Hal Hirschfeld's going to be out for this one, but Lena Sloan's going to be in. There's going to be a little bit of a who's going to actually get the better advantage of each other. Will it be the Spirit's ability to provide a thrilling attack, or will it be Orlando's staunch defense? I don't know if we've given this team enough love as far as kind of some of the defensive performances that they have put together. Orlando has conceded just 13 goals over the regular season. That's best for fewest in the league, while the Spirit have scored 8 goals in their last 5 matches alone. Is it, for the both of you, is it going to come down to the Spirit's attack or Orlando's defense in this one, Darian?
It's going to come. Well, those are two tough options. I was going to say Washington's defense.
Okay.
Can they withstand Orlando's attack?
Flip it.
There hasn't been a team this season that can, quite frankly. And when you're missing a Kruger, which I'm not sure how long she's out, we don't have the injury reports yet because it's so early in the week until the game. But the attack of Orlando is so freaking scary to play against. You have Adriana, you have Marta, you have Bandy, you have Summer Yates, you have Julie Doyle, Ali Watt. It's crazy the amount of players that they can send forward to score goals. And that's not including their defenders and their midfielders. So I think the Spirit really have their hand full with the amount of injuries that they have. And I think it's really going to come down to them being in lockstep with each other, double teaming Banda, being really, really good 1v1 defending against Marta and Adriana, and trying to not allow shots from distance, because this team figures out ways to score. When you shut one person down or one way style of scoring down, they'll figure out another. So I think it's going to be all about Washington Spirit's defense.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't disagree there. Yeah, I can't even disagree with you there. I think also just Carson Pickett added another layer to Orlando's game that they didn't even necessarily need. Her crosses into the box and just her get up on that flank are great, but now she's also unlocked Carson Pickett, goal scorer. So I think there's going to be a lot more questions of this Washington Spirit side than there will be of Orlando. They will, have to stay the course. Obviously, they've been playing their game and then making tiny little problem solving instances as they go, because teams are now adjusting for them, as they should. So yeah, I don't know. Let's go Orlando.
All right. Heavy favorites for Orlando going into this one. Maybe we'll see them clinch the Shield. We've got another bit of a playoff potential kind of preview here, because Racing is definitely dancing with some danger on that playoff line. But Racing Louisville and Kansas City Current are going to go head to head. These two teams are not unfamiliar with wild finishes. They had a 3-3 draw back in May in Kansas City at CPKC Stadium. Kansas City's coming off of a narrow draw against Gotham 1-1, and Louisville's actually coming off of a loss against Utah Royals. They also haven't kept a clean sheet in 14 matches. Is there a favorite in this one, Darian, and why?
Oh, well, Kansas City. They've shored up their defense quite a bit from when they last played. Also, Louisville missing some players, Taylor Flint being out, is a big one defensively for me, where I think Kansas City is going to be able to take advantage of that. But again, it's the firepower of the attack between Orlando, Kansas City. There's teams that cannot stop them. You can triple down on Shawinga, but you cannot stop this woman. She's incredible. So I think with her being back, Bia being back, they have Dabinia up top. It's too difficult to shut them all down. And Louisville, yes, is conceding goals. You said 14, Sandra?
Yeah.
That is buck wild. If I'm Kansas City, I'm licking my chops going to this match, knowing that there's going to be opportunities that Louisville's going to give you to concede. So yes, Louisville may get one or two on Kansas City, but I think Kansas City's got this in the bag with their attacking prowess. What about you, Cupo?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I've been trying to beat that Louisville drum at least this latter part of the season, because they have so much promise. But I don't know. No rousing speech from Bev is gonna get me to deviate. Kansas City are too solid, and unfortunately, Louisville don't have the luxury of what Kansas City could rely on earlier in the season, which was just like continue to score goals and just have a vibes defense. And now that they've kind of straightened things out, you know what? Maybe Balser gets a goal this game, but I mean, Lo Malay can only do so much coming out that back. I think Kansas City need it too, because they just need that morale bump. Also, like, that last game against Gotham was a battle, but the sort of intervention of that wonky Michelle Cooper ref debacle they're going to be back and they're going to need the win.
Not sure if we're gonna have any more wonky moments in this one, but it's late in the season and anything can happen. We've also got North Carolina Courage and San Diego Wave on the docket here. This could have some implications for both teams as well, despite their places in the standings. What does San Diego Wave need to do, Cupo, in order to just stay relevant, just stay alive at this point in
I
the
mean,
season?
right now it's a matter of them all acclimating to this like do or die super aggressive attack that Landon's kind of implemented, which they seem to be latching onto. Amira Ali looked really, really good last game. And I think he's kind of trying to figure out like who best plugs where. Mel Balsanas coming up big last week too, where there was that sort of flip between she and Danny Colaprico, who for me is just like a stalwart in that midfield too. I think it's just acclimating to what he's asking of them, but also they need to be clinical, man. They create and create and create, but they just don't have a finish. And so I think we've seen this story before, even earlier in their season. They need to fix that. That's their Achilles heel right now.
It's going to be tough. They've at this point in their season had 3 different people in that head coaching position,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
mean,
been the narrative that has followed them throughout the season, no matter who's been at the head of it. I think it's going to be tough. North Carolina Courage, I think, are finally starting to hit their stride a little bit, building towards something special as well. They had a really good performance against Chicago last week. It's going to be tough having lost Brianna Pinto because I think she's been a crucial component of getting this team back on track and on course to the push to the playoffs. But they've got Caroline still building minutes, and Ashley Sanchez just similar to Chewinga, I don't think can be denied. She's having a deeply underrated type of MVP kind of season. I do wonder where the Courage are if they don't have Sanchez in the mix of their team. So I'm looking to see some. I don't know about fireworks, but I want to see maybe a little chess match, a little bit of jockeying for position in this one. So, but I think Courage might take it